Magic is something you make, and creativity is more than magic. And especially when it comes to fiction writing, magic is all you need. So here we are on the next lesson in our series Creative Writing, Small Steps for Giant Leaps. And this lesson is Fiction Writing, How to Get Started. It's presented by me, Palak Sharma. Few things about me: I'm an economics honors student, a mixture of Keats and Shakespeare, content developer intern, a poet at heart, a theatre geek. And here's my link, follow me on Unacademy. For doubt, feedback or queries, feel free to write in the comment section. Do not forget the 3 R's NDS, rate, review, recommend and share the lessons. Which one is the most popular form of creative writing according to you? If you people guessed fiction writing, then it's right, because novels are written every month, every year, every day almost. The vast majority don't see the light of the day. It's a fancy expression meaning it doesn't get published. But some do. Some become bestsellers and some don't even sell a few copies. So why? What makes a difference between writing a really good story that people read with pleasure, good novels, and writing a boring one that makes the readers throw it across the room? This is mastering the art of writing great fiction, the fiction writing process. So there's a quote by Dean Wesley Smith when he says, "Yeah, I know that your English professor tried to tell you, but if your English professor could make a living writing fiction, they would have been doing it." So it's a very satirical way of saying that you should not listen to every preacher who teaches you how to write fiction, because nobody can teach you exactly how to write. It's you yourself who can understand how to write and how to express yourself. Nobody can teach you better than yourselves. So I'm just here to give you a guidance about what you need, how do you want to master the art of fiction writing. That's important, and that's what I'm going to teach you here. Now, there are fiction writing elements which you should know about, and this is not one of those which you can't live without list. You can live without this one, but you wouldn't want to live without this one, because once you know all the elements, you only want to perfect them. But I would just remind you that writers like Edgar Allan Poe or Leo Tolstoy or Jane Austen, they never had time to go through creative writing lessons or creative writing mastery sessions. They learned it with themselves. So we need to learn that kind of fiction writing also, but it comes with talent. So you would first need to sprinkle some water on your talent and then make it awake, and then you would be able to go on the way of Leo Tolstoy or Jane Austen, as I said. So only about perfecting elements that there's important thing you should know. What are the fiction writing elements? So the first one I would go with is character. Then there's plot, which has 2 subparts, subplots and conflicts. Then the third thing about fiction is its setting. The fourth thing is theme. And the fifth thing is the style and grammar of writing fiction. So the first one, character. Do you remember Alice in Wonderland or Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice? There was a character, a central character around which the novel revolved. There was Alice in Wonderland. There was Elizabeth Bennet or Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. These were the characters, the strong characters which made the story flow in these novels, which made you bound to read and complete these novels. So every story has a main character. If you don't have a main character and you don't have any characters, you don't have any story. You might have the most exciting plot in the history of the universe, but if you don't have any character that make the reader care about them, you might just as well throw out your story too, because as James Stratton said, that no believable character is equal to no story. This is a very golden rule of fiction writing, that there's a whole art of creative writing. Sure, you can slap up a name on a caricature, give it a few cliches, qualities so well known that there's nothing caring about them, and call it a character, but that doesn't make it a believable or a real character. And unbelievable characters are seriously pretty well nonsense things. So don't waste up your ink making them up. Make believable characters that people connect to. And don't give them qualities which are already present in people. Give them extraordinary qualities, but believable qualities. That's important. Then the second thing is plot. Every story has a main character, but does every story have a plot? The answer is not every story, but all the good ones have them. If a story does not have a plot, you can conclude that it's a bad story, not publishable at all, because there's nothing actually happening within it. So yes, the question you can ask to yourself, if you want to know whether your story has a plot or not, the question is, what happens in it? That is the question. If you can answer it, then your story has a plot. If it doesn't, then it's not, it is without plot story, a plotless story, which is not publishable at all. But I would say that action is not plot. Plot is something different. Whether you want to write a detailed plot outline or just start your story, you must take care of plot. Without plot, there's no story, even if you have the best characters in the world. Both are necessary. Omission of anyone can seriously hinder your stories. Your plot can be anything in the world. It can be happy, it can be sad, it can be serious, it can be funny, it can be realistic, it can be fantastical. Its only function is to draw the readers in. That's what is important. That is all about plot. If you write a plot that makes your readers bored, then you can conclude that it was a failure. Many plots are failures. Far more are failures than successes. It can be bitter to realize that your plot is not holding the reader's attention, but it happens to all of us, and it is the way of the world, that not everyone is perfect. So initially you would be writing some plots which would not be a success, they might be a failure, but it is very important that you continue writing, because it is gradually with time that you will understand that not only successes, failures are also important part of the learning process, and it's very important to write something worth failing also. So there's another quote by Elizabeth Sims where she says the importance of subplots. Because subplots, if you include subplots in your story, you can increase the interest in your novel. But that's only if you carry it well off. Okay. So subplots are what, according to Elizabeth, she says that subplots bring realism to your main plot simply by existing, by interrupting the flow. Why is this? Because life doesn't move forward all at once. Interruptions happen, changes rush in, we juggle 3 or 10 balls at once, and readers don't expect continuous narratives. That is why we need the hitches, the glitches in our writing, which subplots bring in. So according to Wikipedia, subplot is a secondary plot. It's something secondary. So it is a supporting side story for any story or the main plot. Subplots may connect to main plots in either time and place or in thematic significance, but subplots often involve supporting characters, those which are apart from the protagonist or antagonist. And I think that defines it secondly. So subplots are another important part of your writing. If you want to make your writing happening, if you want to make your readers jump up in their beds while they're reading your stories, then you need a subplot every time. The second part of plot is conflict. Introduce some conflict between the main character and his surroundings, because conflict is necessary to make your novels spicy. Conflict between the protagonist, the hero, and the antagonist, who's the villain. Conflict between protagonist and the side characters, and so on. Because without conflict, there's no excitement in the story. People hate to see everyone agreeing with each other, or smiley, lovey-dovey kind of things. People don't always like them. People like some conflict, so introduce some conflict. Make your novels spicy enough for the people to read and never leave. Then setting. The third important thing. Where's your novel set? It can be any land. It can be set in modern age India. It might be set in ancient Europe. It might be set in a fantasy world such as Middle Earth. It can be anywhere. But wherever, it doesn't matter as long it is believable. Make your setting believable. That's what is important for readers. Or the readers will throw your novels or whatever you're writing, short stories or anything fiction which you have written. They'll just throw it off saying that you are not realistic enough. That's what we usually do. Whenever the movies or the novels are not realistic enough, we just start criticizing them on the grounds that they do not connect to reality. So you should first connect to reality in your fiction work. That is important. Make your settings realistic. Make them believable. Then you have lots of fiction genres. You can always read them and explore any of them. They are always open for you people. See your setting comes in which genre and explore the genre. Write more into it. Then the style and the grammar. This is another important part of fiction writing, because writing voice, then there's point of view, and there's style and grammar. They're very important, because if you break the rules, sometimes it's for the better. But it's always better to know the rules before breaking them. So if you make a spelling mistake, be sure to correct it with proofreading. It's another important thing, because nothing gives away the amateurishness of a writer more than a spelling mistake. So do avoid these kind of mistakes every time, because style and grammar are important from your reputation point of view. So that's it for fiction writing elements. It's now over to you. You should always write that what are your experiences in fiction writing elements, and have you found my explanation easy to follow, or was it very rambling and it was not concise enough? You are feeling free to give feedback in the comment section. I'll always wait for them, because I'm sure I've missed out many of the things. So yeah, that's it for fiction writing elements. It's all over to you. You can write your experiences in the comment section. I'll be waiting. Thank you. Do not forget the 3 R's and the S. Rate, review, recommend, and share the lessons. Have a nice day.